Right now, somewhere in your city, there is a gym that is completely empty. The lights are on. The treadmills are running on standby. The air conditioning is humming through rows of unused machines, and nobody is inside, not a single person. But here's the thing. That gym is making more money right now, at this very moment, than it would if every single one of its members walked through the door. That sounds like a broken business model. It sounds like something that shouldn't work. It sounds like the kind of thing that would bankrupt any normal company in a matter of months. But it does work. It works so well that it has created an entire industry worth over $96 billion in the United States alone. And if you have ever signed up for a gym membership, even once, even years ago, there is a very good chance that you are part of the equation. Not as a customer being served, not as a client being trained, but as a customer being counted on to stay away. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is not some hidden scandal buried in leaked documents. This is the actual openly practiced, openly celebrated business model of the modern fitness industry. And once you understand how it works, you will never look at your gym membership the same way again. To understand why gyms want you to disappear, you first need to understand how the industry got here. Go back to the 1950s and 60s. Gyms were small, grimy, and serious. They were almost exclusively used by bodybuilders, wrestlers, and competitive athletes. They smelled like iron and sweat. They had no air conditioning, no juice bar, no flat-screen televisions. And the owners knew every single member by name because there were only a few dozen of them. The business model was brutally simple. You paid to train, you showed up, you lifted heavy things. The owner made enough money to keep the lights on and maybe replace a rusty barbell once a year. Nobody got rich, but nobody was pretending to offer something they weren't. Then in the 1970s and 80s, something changed. The fitness boom hit America. Aerobics classes, Jane Fonda workout tapes, the jogging craze. Suddenly, fitness was not just for athletes. It was for everyone. It was aspirational. It was fashionable. And when fitness became mainstream culture, entrepreneurs saw an enormous opportunity. They realized that if you could make a gym feel less intimidating, add some carpet, put in some mirrors, play pop music, hire a smiling receptionist, you could attract millions of ordinary people who had never touched a barbell in their lives. And that is exactly what they did. The only problem was, they attracted far more members than any building could ever hold. Here is where the math gets interesting. A typical gym has enough equipment and floor space to handle maybe 300 to 500 people per day comfortably. That is the physical capacity of the building. But the average commercial gym in America does not have 500 members. It has somewhere between 6,000 and 10,000. Some mega chains have locations with 15,000 members or more, all sharing the same few hundred square feet of workout space. Now, if every single one of those members showed up on the same day, the building would collapse under the weight of human bodies. There would be lines stretching around the block for a single bench press. The locker rooms would look like a rush-hour subway car. It would be chaos. But that never happens, because the gym already knows, with near mathematical certainty, that the overwhelming majority of those members are never coming. The industry calls this the utilization rate, and for most commercial gyms, that rate hovers around just 18%. That means for every 100 people paying a monthly membership, only about 18 of them will actually set foot in the gym during any given month. The other 82? They're paying for a service they are not using, and the gym is counting on that. So why do people keep paying for something they never use? The answer is not laziness. It is psychology, and the fitness industry has mastered it. It starts with the sign-up process. When you walk into a gym for the first time, everything is designed to make you feel like you are about to change your life. The sales associate does not talk about reps and sets. They talk about your goals, your dreams, your future self. They show you the gleaming equipment. They hand you a fresh towel. They make you feel welcome, inspired, and motivated. And then they ask you to commit. Not to a single session, not to a week, to a 12-month contract with automatic monthly payments drawn directly from your bank account. At that moment, you are at the peak of your motivation. You genuinely believe you will come 5 days a week. You believe this is the start of a new chapter, and the gym knows something you do not. That feeling will fade. Research in behavioral economics shows that people consistently overestimate their future self-discipline. We predict we will go to the gym 3 to 4 times per week. In reality, the average member goes about 4.7 times per month. That gap between intention and behavior is not a bug in the gym's business model. It is the feature. There is a reason most gym memberships are priced between $10 and $50 per month. That number is not arbitrary. It is carefully calculated to sit in what psychologists call the pain-free zone of spending, an amount so small that it barely registers on your monthly bank statement. Think about it. $10 a month, that is less than a single meal at a fast food restaurant. That is less than one drink at a coffee shop per week. When you look at your credit card statement and see that charge, your brain does a quick calculation. It is only $10. It is not worth the hassle of canceling. I might go next week. And that thought, that tiny moment of rationalization, is worth billions of dollars to the fitness industry every year. The gym does not need you to feel good about your membership. It needs you to feel not bad enough to cancel it. There is an enormous difference between those two things. And the low monthly price is the mechanism that keeps you stuck in that comfortable middle ground, not using the service, but not angry enough to walk away from it. But let's say you do decide to cancel. Let's say you finally look at 6 months of charges for a gym you haven't visited since February and you think, enough, I'm done. That is when you discover the second layer of the business model, the cancellation process. At many major gym chains, you cannot cancel online. You cannot cancel by email. You cannot cancel by phone. You have to physically walk into the gym during business hours and speak to a staff member who is trained not to let you leave. Some chains require you to send a certified letter through the mail. Others have mandatory 30-day notice periods, meaning you will be charged for at least one more month after you request cancellation. Some contracts include early termination fees of $50 to $100 or more. And here is the uncomfortable truth. These barriers are not accidents. They are not bureaucratic inefficiencies. They are deliberate design choices meant to increase what the industry calls involuntary retention. Every extra hoop you have to jump through, every form you have to fill out, every phone tree you have to navigate, each one is a calculated friction point designed to make you think, I'll just cancel next month. And next month, the same friction is waiting for you. No moment in the gym industry's calendar is more important than January. Every year, like clockwork, millions of people make New Year's resolutions to get fit. Gym signups spike by as much as 40 to 50% in the first 2 weeks of January. The gym knows this is coming. They prepare for it months in advance with aggressive advertising, discounted enrollment fees, and New Year, New You promotions. They staff extra salespeople. They clean the equipment until it shines. They want to capture as many new signups as possible during this narrow window of collective motivation. But here's what they also know, and what the data confirms year after year. By the second week of February, gym attendance drops back to normal levels. 80% of those January signups will stop going within 5 months. They will not cancel their memberships. They will simply stop showing up. And the gym will continue to collect their monthly fees for months, sometimes years, afterward. The industry has a name for these members. They call them sleepers. And sleepers are the most profitable customers a gym can have. They generate pure revenue with zero cost. No equipment wear, no towel laundering, no water usage, no staff interaction, just a direct deposit from a bank account, month after month, for a service that exists only as a line item on a statement. If you're finding this breakdown eye-opening, take a second to hit that subscribe button. We break down the hidden business models behind the industries you interact with every single day, the strategies they don't advertise, the math they hope you never learn. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next one. If you want to see this business model perfected to an art form, look no further than Planet Fitness. Founded in 1992, Planet Fitness has grown to over 2,400 locations across the United States and beyond. Their membership starts at just $10 per month. They market themselves as the judgment-free zone, targeting people who are intimidated by traditional gyms. And on the surface, it works beautifully. But look at the numbers. Planet Fitness has roughly 19 million members. Their average location is about 20,000 square feet. If all 19 million members tried to work out at the same time, each location would need to fit nearly 8,000 people inside a space designed for maybe 200. That is not a gym. That is a stadium. Of course, Planet Fitness knows this will never happen. Their entire financial model depends on it. They offer free pizza on the first Monday of every month. They have a lunk alarm that goes off if someone grunts too loudly or drops a weight. They deliberately create an environment that discourages intense exercise, because intense exercisers actually show up. And people who actually show up cost money. The ideal Planet Fitness member signs up in January, comes twice, eats a slice of free pizza, and never returns. That member generates $120 per year in almost pure profit. Here's a question that changes everything. If the gym doesn't really want you to show up, then who is the gym actually serving? The answer is investors and landlords. The modern gym business is not really a fitness business. It is a real estate and recurring revenue business. Investors look at a gym, and they see predictable monthly cash flow from thousands of members, low variable costs because most members never come long-term lease agreements that create stable tenancy for property owners, and a brand that can be franchised and replicated at scale. When Planet Fitness went public on the New York Stock Exchange in 2015, its stock price surged. Wall Street loved the model, not because it was making people healthier, but because its revenue was almost entirely decoupled from its service delivery. In other words, the less the company actually had to serve its customers, the more profitable it became. This is the fundamental inversion at the heart of the gym industry. In almost every other business, the goal is to maximize customer engagement. Restaurants want you to eat, hotels want you to stay, airlines want you to fly, but gyms want you to pay and stay home. If the monthly membership wasn't enough, many gyms have added another layer of revenue extraction, the annual fee. This is a charge of $39 to $49 that appears on your statement once per year, usually around February or March. The gym calls it an annual enhancement fee or a maintenance fee. It is marketed as going toward equipment upgrades and facility improvements. But in reality, it serves a very different purpose. It is time to hit right after the January sign-up rush. When new members are still in their honeymoon period and unlikely to question the charge. And for existing sleeper members, the ones who haven't visited in months, the annual fee is small enough to avoid triggering a cancellation decision, but large enough to meaningfully pad the gym's bottom line. Multiply $49 by millions of members, and you are looking at hundreds of millions of dollars in additional revenue, collected in a single billing cycle for a fee that most members barely notice. Some members don't even realize they agreed to it. It was buried in the fine print of the contract they signed during that motivated January moment when the future seemed full of possibilities and the gym seemed full of promise. There is one group of gym members the business model does want to engage with, but not for the reasons you might think. Personal training is the highest margin upsell in the fitness industry. A single training session can cost $60 to $150 per hour, with the trainer typically receiving only 20 to 40% of that fee. The rest goes to the gym. But here is the dynamic at play. Personal training is often sold in large packages, 10 sessions, 20 sessions, sometimes 50 sessions at a time. And just like the membership itself, the gym knows that a significant percentage of those sessions will never be used. Studies show that roughly 40 to 60% of purchased personal training sessions go unredeemed. The client buys a package in a moment of enthusiasm, uses a few sessions, then life gets in the way. The sessions expire, the money is gone. The trainer has moved on to the next client, and the gym has collected revenue for a service it never had to deliver. It is the same pattern, replicated at a higher price point. Motivation sells, follow-through falters, and the gap between the two is where the profit lives. So what happens when members actually show up? For the gym, it is a disaster. When too many members use the facility, equipment breaks down faster and needs constant repair. Water and electricity bills skyrocket. The gym needs more cleaning staff, more towels, more maintenance workers, more parking spots. Wait times for popular machines increase. Members get frustrated. They tense on. They start arguing over equipment. They complain to management. They leave one-star reviews online. And worst of all, they start comparing the actual experience to the price they are paying. And the math stops working in the gym's favor. This is why some industry analysts refer to heavy gym users as negative value members. They cost more to serve than they contribute in membership fees. The gym is actually losing money on every person who comes 5 or more times per week. They wear down the treadmill belts. They use the showers. They take up space that could otherwise remain empty and cost-free. The profitable members, the ones the gym's entire financial model depends on, are the ones who never walk through the door. This creates a perverse incentive structure. The gym is financially motivated to make the experience just good enough to prevent cancellations, but not so engaging or so excellent that it encourages frequent attendance. It is a tightrope walk between perceived value and actual usage. And most commercial gyms have gotten remarkably good at walking it. In recent years, a new threat has emerged that challenges the traditional gym model: digital fitness. Companies like Peloton, Apple Fitness Plus, and dozens of app-based workout platforms have given people the ability to exercise at home, on their own schedule, with professional instruction, without ever setting foot in a gym. During the pandemic, gym memberships dropped by nearly 30%. Millions of people discovered that they could get a genuinely effective workout in their living room with a yoga mat and a set of dumbbells. And many of them never went back. The home fitness market exploded virtually overnight. But here's what is fascinating. The gym industry did not collapse. It adapted. Many chains launched their own digital platforms and hybrid membership tiers. Others doubled down on the one thing a home workout cannot replicate: the social experience, the sense of belonging, the aspirational identity of being someone who goes to the gym. Because that identity, that feeling of being a gym member, of having a membership card on your keychain, of telling your friends you signed up, is what most people are really paying for. Not the treadmill, not the dumbbells, not even the results. They are paying for the psychological comfort of feeling like the kind of person who works out. And the gym has figured out how to sell that feeling, that self-image, without ever requiring you to actually break a sweat. Step back and look at the full picture. The American fitness industry generates over $96 billion per year. It employs hundreds of thousands of people. It occupies millions of square feet of prime commercial real estate in every city, suburb, and strip mall across the country. And it is fundamentally built on a single, elegant, almost absurd premise that most of its customers will not use the product they are paying for. No other major industry operates this way. If 80% of airline passengers never boarded their flights, the airline would file for bankruptcy within a quarter. If 80% of restaurant customers ordered meals and never picked them up, the restaurant would shut its doors in weeks. If 80% of hotel guests booked rooms and never checked in, the hotel chain would collapse. But in the gym industry, that 80% is not a failure rate. It is not a crisis. It is the business plan. It is the foundation upon which the entire financial model rests. The members who show up are the cost. The members who stay home are the revenue. And the difference between the two is the profit margin that keeps the entire machine running year after year. It is a business built not on health, not on fitness, not on transformation, but on the predictable, reliable, almost mathematically certain gap between human ambition and human behavior. And as long as that gap exists, the gym industry will continue to thrive. Now, knowing all of this, what should you do? The answer is not necessarily to cancel your gym membership. The answer is to stop being a sleeper. If you are paying for a gym, use it. Track your visits. Set a minimum threshold and say 8 visits per month. And if you fall below that number 2 months in a row, cancel immediately. Do not let the low monthly fee trick your brain into complacency. That $10 per month is $120 per year. Over 5 years, that is $600 for a service you are not using. Alternatively, consider pay-per-visit models. Some gyms and studios now offer class packs or day passes that let you pay only when you actually show up. This flips the incentive structure in your favor, and if you do have a traditional membership, set a calendar reminder to audit it every 3 months. Ask yourself one question. Am I using this? If the answer is no, walk into that gym one last time. Not to work out, but to cancel. Because every month you pay and don't show up, you are not just wasting money. You are funding a business model that is designed from the ground up to profit from your absence. And now, if you want to see how another industry perfected the art of making billions from human psychology, check out the video right here, where we break down how the credit card industry turns your spending habits into their biggest payday.